The Bugle, audio newspaper for a visual world.
Hello. That's a bad start, isn't it?
Leave it in, Harry.
Let's try again. Let's try again.
Sounded like someone punched Tom Waits.
This show does not advocate punching Tom Waits. Let me make that abundantly clear. Hello, buglers. Right, this is now the official start of the show. Right, okay, let's get this thing on track. Hello, buglers. And welcome to issue 4377 of the planet's only ever and one remaining audio newspaper for a visual world. I'm Andy Zoltzman. It is the 28th of April 2026. I am in the shed of remorseless truth and overwhelming factuality, sort of. That's its acronym. The world outside still hasn't got its shit together. So here we are again with another Bugle, and it's a Dream Team special. Obviously, all Bugle lineups are Dream Teams, but this one is dreamier and teamier. It's Nish, Kumar, and Alice Fraser. Hello.
Hello, Andy. I'm delighted to be part of the Dream Team. The other day, I dreamed that I hadn't finished school and had to go back and do my exams.
How do they go?
I don't know. I think I spent most of the time remembering that this couldn't be real and it had to be a dream. And oh no, that was it, basically.
I mean, Nish obviously being being Nish Kumar is pretty much that's people can do degrees in it now. So how have you coped with this?
Listen, people are offering doctorates in Kumarology. It's a fascinating study of, as you can see behind me, just incredible discipline. If you're watching the video, the room behind me is unbelievably organised and in no way has 3 drying T-shirts hanging up behind me and a guitar with a recently broken high E string. In no way is that what's going on behind me. Hello, Andy. Hello, Alice. Hello, Buglers. I have returned to the United Kingdom. I made it back in one piece from my visit to the United States of America on the "How the fuck did he get his visa" tour. It was very nice to see so many buglers out in at all of the shows in New York and LA and Austin, and it was nice to catch up with some of the American Bugle co-hosts and see Hari Kondabolu, see Nato Green, and just see how they're faring emotionally at the moment. I even managed to see the original Big Johnny Showbiz himself. And I actually went to a taping of last week tonight, which I understand was very good, though I couldn't hear it over the sound of my own booing. I just think it's necessary to issue a corrective. That guy has got too much praise for too long.
I mean, I'm astonished that they gave you a visa when they wouldn't give me one. I feel like you are much more overtly political than I am. And I think this answers the question of whether brown men or women are more of a danger to the American state. Women with opinions.
Alice, you have reproduced, and therefore you constitute a serious immigration threat. Who knows what embryos you could be cooking up that you could unleash in America?
That's what I call it when I'm pregnant. I say I'm smuggling dissidents. Makes me feel edgy.
No, listen, I think the answer to how I got the question is the answer to how does anything work in America. I continuously threw money at the problem. The one thing that still trumps everything in the United States of America is thousands and thousands of dollars.
Well, that's good that some things never change. We are recording on the 28th of April, 2026. On the 29th of April, in the year 1910, the UK Parliament passed the People's Budget, so-called, the first budget in this country, whose goal was to redistribute wealth amongst the British public. By the looks of things, they're still trying to get all the amendments passed so it can actually come into effect just 116 years later. 29th of April, tomorrow is World Wish Day. And I mean, there's quite a lot. So, what are you guys going to make a wish for World Wish Day? And if so, what would it be?
I'm going to wish it weren't World Wish Day.
Well, I guess that's a wish that will come true the day after that. As always,
I thought you said World Nish Day, and I haven't really engaged with the last 2 minutes of this podcast.
Just envisioning the branching chains on your Wikipedia entry are going to look like.
Yeah. Well, my Wikipedia page is locked and can only be changed by moderators. And I'll have you know, Alice, the listenership of this podcast is 100% responsible for that.
I thought you were going to say the listenership of this podcast is 100% Wikipedia moderators.
Apparently there aren't as many on there as we thought, but let's be honest, we all, I don't want to cast our minds too far back, but Madam Lilygate and the ensuing carnage wreaked on my Wikipedia page by the listenership of this podcast does mean that it's actually quite difficult to change my Wikipedia page.
As always, a section of this esteemed audio newspaper is going straight in the bin. This week we have a special biopics section, reviewing all the latest biopics. This after the controversy around Michael, the Michael Jackson biopic that critics seem to suggest does not cover all aspects of the former pop star and no-time world snooker champion. So we review The First Lady on Mars, which is a new biopic of Amelia Earhart, a bold, if revisionist retelling of the story of pioneering aviator Earhart, which claims that the reason her missing plane was never found was that she flew it to Mars. The First Lady on Mars has been criticised, like Michael, for a lack of scientific accuracy, both in showing Amelia on the Red Planet without breathing apparatus, and for claiming that she was First Lady at the time, having secretly married Franklin Roosevelt. The director, Drellard Butt-Clark, said, well, we did take some creative wiggly room with the historically acknowledged story of Amelia, but we wanted to tell the truer story of her spiritual adventure, which in many ways is more true than the actual true story. Besides, what are facts? No one gives a flying about facts anymore. And as for the actual flying scene itself, that's just to spice up the narrative a bit. Starring Sigourney Weaver as Earhart, Timothy Chalamet as Roosevelt, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Big Bertie Brassballs, King of the Martians. We also review Ozzy and the Boss. So you may well ask, after seeing Ozzy and the Boss, did Lee Harvey Oswald ever actually meet Bruce Springsteen, who would have been only 14, of course, when Oswald allegedly died? Certainly it is, I think, an uncontrovertible fact to say that they did not win the men's doubles at Wimbledon in 1963. Oh, hang on, let me just check. I might have got the wrong year for that.
God forbid
bullshit has to be
the
true.
potato dauphinoise of bullshit is not historically accurate in the one point that you chose to decide to make it accurate.
This is the first law of bullshit. Bullshit has to be accurate.
Here it is, everybody. Fact-checking his own bullshit. The Andy Zoltzman story. That's the name of my controversial Andy Zoltzman biopic. Largely focused on his time editing the sports page of his university newspaper, where he put several fake stories in. That's actually true.
That is true. That is true. The Oxford versus Cambridge speed sculpture competition in 1995 is a classic. It's certainly true to say that Lee Harvey Oswald and Bruce Springsteen did not win the men's doubles at Wimbledon in 1963. It was Mexico's Osuna and Palafox who won against the French pair Barclay and Darmon, and there is also no record of a fist fight or javelin throwing during the match. And finally, St. Peter, Arab Slayer. Tagline, the real story of the greatest US Defense Secretary in the history of the universe. Tells the story of how Pete Hegseth developed from his miraculous birth in a single shaft of sunshine in the middle of a hurricane that destroyed everything else within a 1,000-mile radius, via Jesus' own personal blessing from the cross into Donald Trump's human emissary on Earth and heroic commander of all recorded crusades. There is some disagreement in the historical community over whether Hegseth did actually throw a nuke down Osama bin Laden's throat at the siege of Jerusalem in the year 1099, but it's a f***ing great scene in a truly amazing story. Have you guys seen any other biopics you'd like to chuck into this section?
Andy, I just have a very vivid vision of specifically your audience, your target audience, Andy. It's just a person with an encyclopedia in their hands, but it's attached by an elastic to their wrist. So they're either checking you on facts or flinging it furiously across the room at the wall.
That's what encyclopedias are for.
I've actually had quite a series of unsuccessful meetings trying to get my Jeffrey Epstein biopic, Bear With Me, off the ground. And like the Michael biopic, it doesn't dwell on the salacious details of his life, but rather focuses on his time as an options trader at Bear Stearns in the late 1970s.
Top story this week. The King has gone to America. King Charles has gone to America in an effort to retake the country after its disastrously unsuccessful 250-year experiment in going it alone. He's, tragically for him, had to spend some time with Donald Trump in a meeting that will no doubt be dramatised in a future film, Chucky and the Huckster. Nish, I know you're a massive fan of the royal family to the extent that you've had literally every single king and queen of England tattooed across your phenomenally ornate back in the form of a family tree. And these are exciting. Obviously, you were sent to, very much as the John the Baptist to Charles III's Jesus, to go to America to prepare the ground for his arrival. And like Jay the Bee, I've been not received the credit I deserve. Been absolutely Jay the Bead here, Andy. Yes, I went out there as part of the advanced guard. The visit is timed to celebrate the 250th anniversary of American independence, which does seem like they're rubbing it in our face, Andy. Although I do like this idea of the King touring former British colonies. I'm very much looking forward to the King's visit to India next year to celebrate the 80th anniversary of Indian independence, and going to Australia to check on how the stolen generation are getting up to. This visit could not be come at a worse time for relations between Britain and America. Actually, that's not true. It could have come at a worse time, but that time would have been exactly 250 years ago. There are... Or maybe when we actually physically set the White House on fire.
Yeah.
And we don't yet know if Charles is going to attempt that. I mean, it's possible. I mean, why would he not? It's tradition. Trump loves tradition, and it is a tradition for British people to set the White House on fire. I mean, it's a tradition that's been dormant for a while, but it needs to be brought back.
Listen, also, if he did set the White House on fire, it would probably help Trump with his fucking ballroom plans. I suspect in Charles's welcome pack was a canister of kerosene and some matches. So obviously relations between our countries have not been this tense in a while, probably since they stole John Oliver off us. But Charles is going to address Congress, which is actually only the second time this has happened, the first time being his mother in 1991. And he's going to say that while the US and the UK have not agreed on everything, that's a pretty fucking big understatement, if I remember the musical Hamilton clearly.
and also just the fact of the relative popularities of cricket and baseball. We've certainly not agreed on the best version of a small ball and hitty bat sport.
If he does not begin his speech with "It's good to see you guys coming round on Kings," it will be a lost opportunity.
Well, there is a kind of my overwhelming feeling with this at this current time is that this deep, lacerating historical irony of America having ditched the monarchy 250 years ago, finding itself with an ego-fueled autocrat ruling largely by executive order, now being visited by an actual monarch whose power is limited to waving and having a fucking expensive fancy dress box. And what sort of conversations will they have? What are you allowed to do, Charles? I can release criminals from jails. I can start wars just because I want to without even having to ask permission. I can make something into a law just by signing it in an oversized child's marker pen. And I can send in the troops to my own cities to kill people and cause mayhem. What can you do? Well, I get to give it a speech to read out in Parliament once a year that I can't even zing up with a gag or two, let alone use any intonation in my tone of voice. I occasionally get a go in a golden cart, and I get free tickets to Wimbledon when I want them. I mean, it's in terms of the choice America made 250 years ago, it's gone wrong. It's gone very, very badly wrong.
Yeah, Trump is way up on number of nuclear weapons he controls.
I mean, look, Ed Owens, who's the royal historian, has said this is a huge global event where the king will have a chance to champion the traditional values of democracy, liberty, and freedom. I just feel like you're in trouble as the UK when you have to wheel out the king. Like, the UK has spent the last couple of hundred years trying really hard to make the monarchy vestigial in every sense. Does anyone even know what they were ever meant to do as a diplomatic function other than eat meat on the bone, bang serving girls, and do arms deals with Saudi nations? He's basically the appendix of the state diplomatic apparatus. You're only used to noticing the function of kings when they go bad. I strongly believe the monarchy is and should be purely decorative, performative, and symbolic. And so I would like to make a pitch that the king should arrive when the White House is hosting the WWE wrestling, which they're intending to do. And then the king could stand up for democracy, liberty, and freedom against a heel card called Zorro Man Downey, who has a twirly moustache and a suicide vest. And his signature move is called the Socialist Slam. It's where he holds you down and then symbolically distributes your dick to each according to his need. I'd watch that.
Yeah, listen, we as nations, we have had disagreements, be it the Revolutionary War of Independence or the relative appeals of Garth Brooks and Robbie Williams in the pop charts. But this is a particularly fraught and tense time. Obviously, in the last few weeks, there's been tension over the UK's involvement in Trump's war in Iran. He's derided the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer as no Winston Churchill, though it's hard to know whether he was insulting him or he'd just forgotten his name and was saying, no, I don't think it's Winston Churchill, but don't help me. And it has come to something that the current state of American democracy that we've sent to explain to them the values of democracy, our unelected monarch. Things have got really bad when a guy whose first name is King has to tell you about the importance of allowing people to vote for things. And I guess in terms of an icebreaker, because they're not going to meet on camera. So they are obviously meeting on camera, but they're not going to sit down and have a formal conversation that's filmed because there are British fears of a Zelensky-style clash where Trump and J.D. Vance spent about 10 minutes berating Zelensky over his lack of gratitude towards the United States. So they won't be having a filmed interview, which is a real shame because it would be an absolute thrill to hear the small talk that those two men are engaging in. Because the problem with small talk is that, you don't really know each other. You don't really know what you have in common with each other. But obviously they do have one quite significant thing in common with each other. And I don't think Charles is going to say, I think it's possible you might have run into my brother. Or at the very least, my brother and you have a very close personal friend.
I mean, another slight point of awkwardness, and both men are on their best behaviour, which for Charles is how he behaves all the time, because as monarch he has to behave the same way all the time, so there is no best or worst behaviour. And for Trump, his best behaviour is trying to vaguely convincingly pretend he's not a complete fucking maniac for 15 minutes. So they're doing their best. So could Charles help bridge the gap between Britain and America, which over the past week has been made a little more awkward after reports emerged of America reviewing its position on British sovereignty of the Falkland Islands, the South Atlantic and penguin-infested archipelago, also claimed by Argentina, that was subject of a war in 1982 that left almost 1,000 people dead. And America is reportedly reviewing its view of the Falklands as punishment for Britain not doing America's bidding in its hit job and follow-up improv war against Iran. So it's awkward, and it sort of shows the level of childish. I mean, it shows a lot about news, actually. I mean, for a start, this was reported by Reuters from a leaked internal Pentagon email, and then re-reported by other news outlets saying this was punishment for Britain's failure to support America. But also, if it's not true, everyone thinks it is true, and if it is true, it shows the below childish level of international diplomacy that we have sunk to.
Can I just pick you up on one point there, Andrew?
Yes.
King Charles has not always been on his best behaviour. If I may remember If we include best behaviour to respecting your own marriage vows.
Yeah, that was before he was king, Nish. That's best prince behaviour as anything.
If I may briefly allude to one of the key elements of my childhood, i.e. the life and death of Princess Diana, which is probably second to 9/11 in terms of significant events. And it actually, in fact, both of them are second and third to the time Ross said, "I take thee, Rachel," on Friends. But yeah, I mean... Listen, Charles and Trump, they both love a mistress. So that's something.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you got to find these common grounds.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm positive. I think they go into a box. They are functionally Schrodinger's. They come out with a beautiful agreement for the future of the United States and the United Kingdom, united together as one United States kingdom, the land of the brave when behind a laptop screen and the home of the free subscription for the first month with a lifetime membership to the premium gold tier of Western civilization. No shirt, no bootstraps, no service. I salute the flag. That is to say, the false flag operation that they'll use.
Yeah, the flagging nations that they are. This all happened just a few days after the attack on the White House Correspondents Dinner, which could have been a catastrophe, and like anything that could have been a catastrophe, was swiftly mutated by Trump into a grandstanding and bullshitting opportunity. In particular, an opportunity to plug his White House ballroom, whose construction is currently mired in certain planning issues relating to the US planning authorities attempting to prevent the man with the worst aesthetic taste in American history from being able to build what he wants, where he wants. It is set to win numerous architecture prizes. I don't know if you've seen the plans for it, but it's Ostentatious Kitsch magazine has shortlisted it in a shortlist of one for building that looks most like what a child would design after eating 12 jumbo family-sized bags of sweets. Also been awarded the maximum 5 Gs, gaudy, goldie, garish, grotesque, and god-awful by Terrible Building Monthly. And look, obviously it's much needed, the ballroom. How are hard-pressed families across America going to be able to afford to feed and clothe their children if the White House Correspondents' Dinner isn't held actually in the White House once a year? It's just the latest. I mean, it's these stories are so within. This is 2026, so outlandish conspiracy theories began sprouting within seconds of the assailant being apprehended after almost getting through what sounds like abysmally inadequate security measures. One of the the dinner was then has been postponed. All that food gone to waste, although unless the president himself curated the menu, in which case all that waste gone to food. It's kind of a slightly odd time for the king to be going. He has been assured of his security. Nish, what did you make of this?
Well, I mean, listen, Trump is a master at turning any crisis into an opportunity for a stupid fucking building project. It's basically his sort of modus operandi throughout his life. So immediately after it happened, he claimed that the shooting wouldn't have happened had his ballroom been built. And listen, the construction of the ballroom is already, at a time of a major cost of living crisis for Americans, is already more Marie Antoinette than any of us are comfortable with. And the kind of aesthetic of the ballroom, as you've said, Andy, is very much Hussein chic, and so it's quite.
Can I just pick you up on the Marie Antoinette? Because didn't she say let them eat cake? And Trump's ballroom is more let them watch us eating fucking massive cakes.
Oh, you're right. At least Antoinette was offering them something. She was at least offering them a little cake. Trump's one of the few people that's looked at Marie Antoinette and thought, Jesus Christ, what an absolute wokeist.
All of this is missing the central question here for me. It's the Correspondents' Dinner. It's given the state of modern media. Who the fuck was at this dinner? There are like 8 people who make a full-time living in traditional media right now. I'm just imagining half the people at the dinner ducking out between courses to deliver some suburban families their Thai takeaway, or, I don't know, crochet some hairy balls for their side hustle on Etsy. I think the hero of the evening was the man who just kept eating his salad, of course. He was interviewed afterwards. He said he was a New Yorker. He's used to interesting things happening around him. He also said he had a bad back and didn't want to lie down on the floor and then have to get back up again. And also that he was a germaphobe and the floor looked dirty.
That man's name is Michael Glantz, and he's a senior talent agent at the Creative Artists Agency, which represents a variety of performers from Joe Biden to me. And
They're my literary agents. Hey!
I couldn't get on the floor. If I did get on the floor, they'd have to bring people in to get me off the floor. And I'm a hygiene freak. There's no freaking way I was getting my new tux on the dirty Hilton floor. It was not happening. And if I will say this, listen, I'm also something of a hygiene freak, but if the choice is a dirty floor or a bullet, I'm afraid to say we're sending the tux to the dry cleaners. That is absolutely unfathomable. I mean, there were other people whose behaviour drew a lot of scrutiny online. And as yet, at the time of recording, an unidentified woman was caught on camera taking 2 unopened bottles of champagne and wine from a table, whilst another woman at the same table is taking a selfie of herself clutching a separate bottle of champagne in the background. And I will also say, this was for fans of the film Force Majeure. This was an absolute golden moment of men in a crisis abandoning their wives. I don't know if you've seen RFK Jr., but the speed at which he ditches Cheryl Hines is absolutely incredible. The speed at which he leaves his wife in the dust is really astonishing. I've said a lot of things about RFK Jr. being incredibly unhealthy. Clearly, it turns out that when the chips are down, that man will speed away from his wife at an astonishing speed. And I also don't know if you've seen Stephen Miller. Listen, it doesn't not look like he's using his wife as a human shield. That's all I'll say about Stephen Miller. It doesn't not look like that. I can't prove that he was doing that, but it doesn't not look like that. He's also positioning his wife by moving her seemingly with her breast. Stephen Miller is really... There has been this idea that Stephen Miller really is the kind of ideological nerve center of the Trump administration. And he's really proved it in this moment, because in a moment of crisis, he took control of a woman's body whilst groping her. So really, he is the kind of ideological nerve center of the Trump administration.
I saw that picture and I thought he was like gently sheltering his wife from the potential bullets. But I guess it depends. We don't know what orientation the gunman...
I think there's probably two ways to interpret it.
There's no downside for RFK Jr. abandoning his wife. Worst case scenario is she's roadkill and he can eat her later. The funniest thing to me about Trump's obsession with his ballroom, which he kept sort of bringing up, and then all of the kind of big right-wing X accounts started posting pretty much in the same words that it was time to build the White House ballroom to keep the president safe. Like there's clearly, whatever it was, the deposits went into their account at the same time. The funniest thing to me about his obsession with his ballroom is how the party of like trad douche masculinity girding dick bro gym light pouch posers, it's such a traditionally girly thing to dream about a ballroom. Like after dream wedding where I ride a unicorn and wear a big fluffy dress made out of marshmallows to the altar where I'll marry a 2-dimensional cardboard cutout of a non-threatening but beautiful androgynous boy band member, building my own ballroom so I can throw Bridgerton-themed waltzes and invite both Colin Firth and Matthew McFadden and make them kiss is second on the list. It's like how is he rectifying this with his like masculinity culture guys? Oh, it's a weaponized ballroom, guys. We're buying a massive pair of knitted hairy balls from a local journalist, carabiner onto the front bull bar of the ballroom. Yes, this ballroom has a bull bar. It's a ballroom for the boys.
I do think there is some truth to that, Alice, because they are talking about that if the ballroom was built, there'd be sort of bulletproof glass everywhere and like essentially a panic room. And you're like, what fucking ballroom have you been to in your life?
Yeah, it goes ballroom, marble, gold, gun cabinet, energy drink fridge, podcasting studio. Ice swan, but plastic ice swan, so we don't have to worry about it melting. The perfect crime. Oh, sorry, it's not a crime to build a ballroom. I assumed it was a crime because Trump was doing it. Well, they haven't decided if it's a crime yet. It's still in the courts, I see. Oh, the laws don't contemplate vigilante ballroom building by a head of state. It's unprecedented. That makes sense. Good. Carry on.
gambling news now, and well, I mean, humans, of course, as history shows, will gamble on pretty much anything. Always have done, always will do. In fact, archaeologists and anthropologists now claim that most cave art was, in fact, bookmakers posting the odds in the latest bison fights. And the history of religion is, of course, basically one big bet that there is a god. And as with gambling, there's been a lot of dodgy stuff massaging the odds to get people to put bets on when there's no chance of winning. And we've had a lot of gambling-related stories in recent weeks on how gambling is now moving in sinister directions to people putting bets on wars, catastrophes, often with very, very strong suspicions of insider trading and advanced knowledge of what might be happening, as bets on the Iran war would strongly testify. An American soldier has been charged with a criminal offence after winning $400,000 betting on the extraction of Nicolas Maduro from Venezuela, which is not something that I think without advanced knowledge you would necessarily have picked. And in France, there are claims that people have been tampering with weather monitoring equipment to put bets on the temperature in France. I mean, where are there any further depths in the gambling side of the human soul that can be mined, Alice?
I mean, this is look. First of all, I blame Labubu blind boxes for this. Just the increasing gamblification of the world, the natural end point, training our youth on the dopamine spikes of risk and occasional reward until they feel up to trying the gamble of an internship in a large multinational corporation or moving in with a significant other who's subscribed to Andrew Tate. Whatever it is, we're living in an increasingly risky and uncertain world, and I feel like this is the solution that people have come up with is laying bets on it, right? Because how bad can it be if you're betting against yourself, right? I just think, if you can envision your life post-apocalypse and how much money you will have made betting on the arrival of the apocalypse, and that's quite a good outcome for everyone involved. It's an incredibly uncertain world. Odds are it's going to fuck you. You might as well hedge, is what I'm saying. Sure, they're laying off 120,000 jobs, but if you guessed what date they're replacing you with a fire-breathing robot, you might make a couple of $100 betting on your own incendiary immolation. And of course it's being misused. Of course it's like we've transformed coups and invasions and war powers into something between fantasy football and a hedge fund fever dream. Trump, when he was approached and asked about it, said it's only bad if he bet against his own team. Weaponize everything, but just back yourself while doing it. It's the new self-help manual. I mean, and his son is on he's profiting from the businesses. His son's fingers are in more pies than Trump's fingers have been in Teen Miss America pageant contestants. I'm sorry. That's disgusting.
Family show.
But it's just I don't know. I'm the only thing that I'm disappointed is that they've decided that they've stopped polymarket betting on the nuclear apocalypse.
Which surely at least is something that there's an element of mild unpredictability about it. It's not we just don't know exactly when it's going to happen. So you can a bit of a spread bet either way.
Very difficult to see how they're going to pay out on those.
Well, exactly. So the bookies always win.
One of the controversies in this story is that an Israeli Air Force reservist is suspected of having used the classified information to place bets relating to the war in Iran last year. And to that I say, are there no heroes left? Someone in the Israeli military has been behaving unethically. This is a real shocker, guys. But the thing is, if you're in the Israeli army or you're in the American army, the sort of notional leadership of that organization lies with Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump, two men who have only used their position in office to further enrich themselves. So, it's hard to know whether these people should face criminal charges or sort of be awarded the Purple Heart.
Yeah.
You know, this takes yeah.
America. Yeah.
Yeah, this take if you're in countries run by Netanyahu and Trump who have an almost sexual thrill at the prospect of committing corruption, it's very difficult to lecture any of the soldiers in your army on basic morality. The lesson of both of those men is get in, get good while the going's good, and then get the fuck out before anyone starts to imprison you. I should also take this opportunity to declare that I have been betting on this Bugle.
Oh, right, okay.
I've been betting on numbers of puns. I've been betting on the number of farts committed by certain guests on the Bugle, and I am about to come up trumps in this conversation. I don't want there to be any internal inquiries into what I knew. Right. When I placed a bet on whether or not Andy would open this Bugle by hacking up half of his lung.
Just some sports news before we go. Chelsea have pre-sacked their next 2 managers. After dispensing with Liam Rosenior as their head coach after just 3.5 months this week, the London-based football club have announced that they've already sacked their next 2 head coaches as well, the experienced German troubleshooter Dieter Schnatterbeck and the highly rated young Portuguese coaching hotshot Esteban Capau have been pre-fired. A club source said it wouldn't have worked out. They would have lost the dressing room, the fans would have turned on them, and they'd have been sacked within a year anyway, so we might as well just fucking get on with it. We thank Dieter and Esteban for the work they would have done for Chelsea Football Club. Have they done any of it? Youth team coach Ernie Sniddles will now oversee the team for their next Premier League game, for at least for the first 12 minutes until they concede an unnecessary corner. At which point, Kimberly from the club shop will take over for the rest of the game. After she's sacked at the final whistle, the team will be interim managed until the end of the season by the late Ted Drake. Via the club's new AI Ouija board, Drake, of course, led Chelsea to their first league title in 1955. French legend Zinedine Zidane will then be unveiled as the new long-term manager, but they'll have forgotten to ask him if he wanted to do it or told him anything about it, so he won't show up. So by then, out of work, Keir Starmer is then set to take over and lead the club on a money-spinning pre-season tour of the seventh circle of hell, before an old waxwork of Jose Mourinho, stolen from Madame Tussauds, takes the reins for the start of the 26-27 Premier League campaign until that melts after being left on the team bus on a sunny day and is replaced by Nish Kumar. So, Nish, what are you going to bring to Chelsea as a football franchise?
I'm going to bring to Chelsea what I brought to all my jobs, Andrew: immediate sacking and collapse of the franchise. For non-football interested buglers, Chelsea are essentially managed by a sort of investment group who have overheard someone describe the plot of Moneyball as summarized by an AI summarizer. They've not really grasped any of the fundamentals of the game.
Well, that brings us to the end of this week's Bugle. Thank you very much to all buglers who have come to my tour shows. There are just a few dates left. This Friday in Keswick at the Theatre by the Lake, Tuesday the 5th in Maidstone, and then concluding at Bury St Edmunds, the Theatre Royal, on Saturday the 9th of May. So do come along, and thanks to everyone who has been so far. Nish, anything to plug?
Yes, thanks again to the buglers that came to the shows in New York, LA and Austin. I will now be taking that show on tour in the UK and Ireland. That goes from August in Edinburgh, and then the tour is September, October, November. I can't remember if it goes into December. That's information that's available to you on the internet, okay? Go to nishkumar.co.uk. Also, on the 12th of May, even as I say this, I understand this might be a massively unwise move, but on the 12th of May, I am releasing on YouTube my stand-up show, Nish Don't Kill My Vibe, which is the previous show that I toured all over the world, including the UK, America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, all over the shop. I'm doing that. That's being released. And at 7 p.m. UK time, there is a YouTube release event where I am somehow going to be in a live chat, live blogging the experience of watching my own stand-up show, which, as anyone who's ever had to do that can attest, is a very specific form of Guantanamo Bay style torture. Now, I'm throwing this open to the Bugle listenership to join that YouTube release event. in full knowledge that I have sown the seeds of my own downfall. Like Starmer appointing Mandelson as a US ambassador, I've created conditions for my own demise. I imagine this podcast will, if I may quote a biopic I'm writing of the Bugle podcast, flood the zone with bullshit. So yeah, that's 7 p.m. On the 12th of May. There'll be information about how to access that on my website, nishkumar.co.uk, and on the various disgraced social media platforms that I peddle my wares on.
Alice?
Sign up at my Patreon because I am currently trying to look good for some people. So you can subscribe for free and make my numbers look good for my book advance, basically. But I'll be in Brisbane, 7th to the 10th of May. I'll be in Sydney, 16th and 17th of May. I will be in London. There'll be a live Gargle on the 26th of June, followed by a book signing. There's a bunch of gigs in London and around the UK and then in Edinburgh. So go over to alicefraser.com, or again, if you subscribe at the Patreon, you can do it for free. It's just like a mailing list, and you will know every week where I will be and what is upcoming. I trust that more than the algorithms nowadays. Patreon.com/AliceFraser.
Well, thank you for listening, Buglers. We'll be back next week with Helen Zaltzman and Josie Long. Until then, goodbye.